Tom Holland, before his time as Spider-Man, was earning under $1 million per film. 5 years later, and a very successful Spider-Man trilogy under his belt, he's now earning up to $10 million per role. But is he really worth that amount? We're going to take a look at just how Tom Holland got to this point over the past 5 years, and if Holland can sell tickets outside of his role as Spider-Man. Holland's first appearance as Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War earned him $250,000.
Captain? Big fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Which is not a bad payday for the small cameo he had. In his first solo movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming, he received $500,000. It is also estimated that he received a $1 million bonus based on how well the film performed at the box office. As Tom is a new face to the MCU, he doesn't have a back-end deal like other MCU stars like Robert Downey Jr. or Scarlett Johansson, but he does get bonuses based on the film's performances. Now, for those unfamiliar with back-end deals, a back-end deal is a payment structure where the individual receives a portion of the profits of the film. It's estimated that Robert Downey Jr. has an 8% back-end deal for his role as Iron Man. But back to Tom Holland, for Spider-Man: Far From Home, it's estimated he earned $4 million for his base salary. There's no word though on his bonuses, but considering Far From Home brought in $254 million more in the worldwide box office, it is safe to assume he took home a nice bonus for that film as well. And finally, with Spider-Man: No Way Home, it is rumored he earned a base salary of $10 million. And with No Way Home currently ranking number 6 in the all-time worldwide box office charts, he would once again be looking at taking home some nice bonuses. So as you can see, over the past 5 years playing Spider-Man, Holland has gone from earning $250,000 to over $10 million.
You're that Spider guy on YouTube, right? Call me Spider-Man! Okay, Spider-Man!
As a brand name, executives would be willing to cut back on other expenses to get Holland on their call sheet. Only a handful of other stars have been able to capitalize on this. So, how do companies justify these eye-watering price tags? At least at traditional companies, studios are expecting to earn at least $100 million at the box office if they're paying an actor $10 million to star in their movie. This is regardless of what the movie is about, how much the budget is. If you are paying $10 million on an actor, their name alone should bring in at least $100 million. Nowadays, the issue is that few actors can guarantee these results in an age where IP, not actors, is the main attraction. Especially in the case of Spider-Man: No Way Home. It wasn't Holland's name alone selling tickets. The MCU installment was teased as a major crossover event, one that banked heavily on 2 decades of Spider-Man fans showing up to see their favorite Spider-Man on the big screen again. The question now is whether Holland will be a box office draw outside of Spider-Man. His name did little to salvage the 2001 dystopian thriller Chaos Walking, which bombed at the box office last year amid COVID-19. It was weighed down by bad reviews and production nightmares. The film had a budget of $100 million, but only brought in $27 million at the worldwide box office, which is a long way off the $100 million expected of a star worth $10 million.
I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
A huge test for Holland's big screen name will be Sony's Uncharted, a big budget action adventure in which Holland is playing the young fortune hunter Nathan Drake. Uncharted has a production budget of $120 million, and taking into consideration marketing and distribution costs, these usually come in at around 2 or 3 times the budget. Uncharted is needing to make at minimum $240 million to break even. Tom Holland was signed on as Nathan Drake in May 2017, before the first of his Spider-Man trilogies was released. So it's very likely that Holland was paid under $1 million for a film that is releasing in a time where he's now asking for a salary of 10 times that amount. Uncharted has had a rocky go of it in production, starting all the way back in 2008. In 2010, Mark Wahlberg was announced to star in the role of Nathan Drake. 12 years later, 7 director replacements, multiple rewrites of the script, and Wahlberg is now starring as Sully, Nathan's mentor and longtime friend, and Holland is playing a young Nathan Drake. Holland has even voiced concern about his performance in this role, saying, "I think there are elements of my performance in Uncharted where I kind of fell under the spell of being, I want to look good now, I want this to be my cool moment." He said before adding, My character is supposed to be a fucking action hero in this moment. He goes on to say, look, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if I succeeded in that, but it was an important lesson learned, because at the times, it was less about land a mark and go through the scene, and more about land a mark, stand like this, and see my bulging biceps. It was a mistake and is something that I probably will never do again. So while his salary for Uncharted will not be looking anything close to his Spider-Man salaries, it has clearly been a huge learning experience for him, and Uncharted is a big movie for Holland to prove he is worth his new salary price of up to $10 million. Uncharted is a big test to see if Holland himself is able to sell seats, or if it was Spider-Man and the MCU selling the tickets all along. Now, if you thought Tom Holland's salary was eye-watering, wait till you find out just how little Steve-O got paid for his stunts in Jackass. Find out just how much in this video here. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button.